Welcome to the Mavens Do It Better podcast. And now, your host, Heather Newman.
Hello, everyone. Here we are again for another episode of the Mavens Do It Better podcast, where we interview extraordinary experts who bring a light to our world. And I am so excited today to have on Nikkia Carter. Hello, how are you?
Hello. I am fine.
Good.
How are you?
I am really good. We've got a fabulous tech maven. Oh my God, so many things. I'm so excited to talk to you. Where are you coming to us today from?
Currently, I'm in where I've landed into the Redmond area,
Yes.
or Seattle-based area. For those of you that don't know Washington State that well.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm at Marina Del Rey Creative Maven HQ. Again, I've been doing a lot of podcasts from home. It's been so nice to be home.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So gosh, we've known each other now for a while. I was trying to think of where exactly we met.
I'm thinking it was probably a SharePoint conference.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I was like, you're an author, you're a speaker, you're a strategist. You do all kinds of wonderful things. And so I've seen Nikkia speak so many times, and she's awesome. First of all,
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I know. So it's close to a year, right? That you took your role, right? Yeah.
Yep, very close to a year. It'll be a year, March 11th, that I started at Microsoft.
Congratulations again. That's so awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Will you tell everybody, the listeners, a little bit about what you do over there?
Well, currently my role and what I was hired in was to work in the One Commercial Partner organization under Gabriella Schuster, where I'm the worldwide modern workplace tech strategy lead. And that is a big old mouthful. But basically what it means is that I'm in the partner organization, but my role is only 20% partner focused. I'm mainly focused towards the field, and that's the field of PTAs, which are partner technical architects, CSAs, which are cloud solution architects, and PTMs, which are partner technical managers, but only those that are in the modern workplace focus.
Gotcha.
So I basically am the one responsible for leading them and the care and feeding of the field in that regard.
That's cool. So, and from modern workplace, you're talking about Microsoft Teams, desktop security, compliance, all that good stuff.
So the big three right now are Microsoft Teams, security and compliance, and modern desktop.
Gotcha.
But as you know, more falls under modern workplace, like Office, like SharePoint, like projects, even though, people don't talk about projects as much in the Microsoft space. But all of that still, if you think about M365, that's basically the space. Even if it's not this like SharePoint online, but there's a SharePoint on-prem. So it could still be on the prem side. We just tend to focus towards the cloud right now.
Yeah, gotcha. Absolutely. So you're taking care of, so it's OCP, One Commercial Partner, and you're doing partner engagement there and getting people, help them ramp up with their tech capabilities and then also enabling the field. That's super cool. How many people are you working with at any given time?
Well, the field consists of about 85 folks so far. We'll see what we end up with because we're about to we'll be entering a new FY in the next few months. So we'll see where we land there. But I think we have roughly about 85 folks. Now, those people in the field, they're the ones that mostly focus on the partner. But there are times where I, like, say, for example, I'm been in contact with two partners that I'm trying to help out a little bit because I still have a lot of love from myself being a partner as well.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, that's so cool. And so how do you like Seattle, Redmond, Pacific Northwest? Because this is new for you, right?
Oh yeah, it is new. I was born and raised in Baltimore City,
Yeah.
lived in Virginia, DC area since 2001,
Hmm.
and then moved here last March. It is a culture change, but it's a very much welcome culture change.
That's awesome. Yeah, and a big weather change too, I'm sure.
Yes, and a big weather change. Yeah, rain all winter.
Yes.
But now we're starting to get to the point where the sun is starting to come out. So
Yeah,
back to
absolutely.
happier times.
So that's so cool. Washington D.C. is such an amazing place, and you went to Howard, which is got such a rich history, and what a cool university. And you were in ROTC, right, as well?
Yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah.
went to Howard my first year and returned
Okay.
back to my hometown. Went to
Yeah.
Towson to
Towson,
to
right?
complete
Yeah.
my time. But yeah, I did go to I was through ROTC in high school my last year and then 2 years of college.
Okay.
But then family changed. I had to make a decision. Do I want to continue with my military career or do I want my family to stay together?
Right.
Family, military.
Wow.
Kind of chose family.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But that's a big decision, and how so going through ROTC, what were you focused on?
um, it's funny because and I learned off early. I learned early on that I was very good at computer science and
Yeah.
I was very good at science.
Hmm.
Why oh why did I start my first year in aerospace engineering? I don't know. And then I was like, wait a minute, 3 months. Well, maybe it was more like 6 months in. I was like, what am I doing? So I changed focus back to computer science
Yeah.
and I stayed there.
Okay, gotcha. And you also have a master's as well in project management. That's so cool too.
Yeah.
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 You've done a lot of great like educational things, and I see, because you worked as a partner before going and joining Microsoft about a year ago, and I swear I think you've taken every certification I could ever see. You know this stuff inside and out.
Yeah, I definitely try to stay immersed as much as possible. And I think a lot of my technical ventures, especially in being a speaker,
Yeah.
that kind of forces you, and you know this, it kind of forces you to know what the heck you're talking about.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you're getting called out on stage in
Yes.
front of everybody.
Yes, that is very true. That is true. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's super cool. And how was it? You said so transitioning. You have a lot of love for partners. What are some of the maybe big differences from going from partner to Microsoft, or things you loved about working for partners?
Um, well, I just really like the way partners, um, especially those that are all about collaboration, really focus in on collaboration.
Right.
Everybody has their specialties, and those that are really into partnering, they will partner with you big time and
Yeah.
figure out which gaps they have that you can fill and which gaps you have that they can fill.
Right.
So that it's a real true synergy,
Hmm.
and it can be between multiple partners, and you just get to really know, especially if you totally immerse yourself in the community. Like I was part of IAMCP, which is the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners.
Yep.
And that community is can be so tight knit
Yeah.
with those that are willing to work together, and you know that as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I've been really enjoying, moving to Los Angeles over the last couple of years and being here and dipping into our SoCal community. It's great. You know.
Hmm.
So I think we both would highly recommend anybody who is a partner or involved with Microsoft to check out the IMCP. It's terrific. There's lots of chapters all over the world, and it's a huge organization. So, and I find the networking's great, and people are just so eager to answer questions and help. So yeah.
Yeah, and just as a kind of side or add on to that, just
Yeah.
don't just join, be a part.
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
actually get to know people. They will get to know you. Be there for them. They'll be there for you. Don't just show up and expect stuff, because sometimes that's where people fall short is they come to one or two meetings and they're like, oh, I should have gotten all this stuff. Well, if you just sat there and you were quiet the whole time, then
Yeah.
nobody got to know you. They're not going to trust. You don't trust who you don't know.
Yeah.
Get to know people.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. It's what is that? Like, no trust.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing I did a networking class. It's like, do you like these people, and are you gotten
Mm-hmm.
to know them, and now do you trust them? All right. Well, what's next? Let's do some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For sure. And you have lots of volunteer experience. We talk about maybe Voices for Innovation and what that is, and you've got you did some stuff with Adopt a Soldier. Those are so cool. Thank you for your giving back. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Will you share with what about Voices for Innovation is with our listeners?
Yeah. Voices for Innovation is a Microsoft um, uh, committee, board, task force that focuses on political advocacy. So if you are, and I know the climate right now politically is not the greatest, but it's not going to be like that forever. And if you're not helping to move the needle, then complaining is not going to help.
Yep.
If there are things that you feel very strongly about in innovation, whether it be STEM, whether it be re-educating military folks that have left the military and now they're trying to figure out what's next, to changing over folks that worked in maybe the oil and gas industry and that's starting to dry up, or coal mining or something like that.
Yeah.
Retooling folks like that.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing technology to your community. Like, say, for example, you live in a place where there's low bandwidth. And you're like, how the heck do I get some providers to come here and give us some real internet service instead of just satellite or dial up?
Right.
You have to lend your voice, and lending your voice as a business is even stronger. Is an even stronger incentive to our legislators than being an individual person, although that is really strong too.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a business and you're bringing money to their state,
Yep.
the state that they're supposed to care about, they're going to listen.
Yeah.
If you talk to them.
Right.
So you get to do a lot of activities like visiting the Capitol, and they actually give you the easy button. They give you like scripts, they give you training on how to talk to the legislators, they give you coaching on, okay, so you're in this state, this legislator is of this specific leaning, they care about these things, stay away from these topics because this is gonna cause fires and
Right.
anarchy. So you get a lot of help.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, you're able to just do it on your own. So I actually visited my congressman a few times.
Oh, wow.
After receiving training when I was in Virginia. But it's open to all Microsoft partners. There's a way to sign up. It's at voicesforinnovation.org is where you can sign up.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've dipped into it a few times, and it is great. And you're right. There's a lot of really great programs out here. It's about jumping in and getting, not just joining, but getting involved too. You get, I think, so much out of it when you do that.
Oh, let me caveat that. I'm sorry. Open to all U.S. partners. Right now, there aren't any branches internationally.
Okay.
It's U.S.
Okay.
My apologies.
Fair enough. Do you remember your first speaking session? And where?
Oh, do I remember? I believe what happened. I think Rima Reyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's she's a sweetheart. Yep, shout out to Rima.
Yeah.
But she was the one that actually convinced me, because at first I was just like, I don't know what I could talk about. It seems like everybody's covering all these topics. What the heck can I talk about? And she was like, feel free to talk about anything else everybody else is talking about, because you're going to add your own flavor.
Yeah.
But one thing that you could probably do is talk about how you became a partner and the steps that you went through to open your business, and how you continued on through all the hoops and ropes and all the stuff that Microsoft that puts up for you to become a partner. Yeah. So that was my first speak at a user group, at a SharePoint user group.
Wow.
in DC.
That's awesome. And so you've been a business owner as well. So
Mm-hmm.
what was that business?
So I started off when I opened the business. I started off to just be a SharePoint practice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I should say this on air, but I worked at Booz Allen. I found out how much they were getting paid versus how much I was getting paid, and I felt some kind of way about that. So
there's nothing wrong with going after, like paying your bills and doing it well. So, yep.
So I decided to step out there.
Yeah.
And after setting up, it took a few months because I ended up staying at Booz Allen for a little bit, and then I jumped to another company where they didn't care that I had a company. But in the process of me finding out how to start the business and everything, I was looking around like, okay, I want to do SharePoint. That means I need a SharePoint environment.
Right.
Let me look around to see how much this costs.
Right.
Oh my God. SharePoint Enterprise costs a whole heck of a lot. What other options do I have? And Office 365 came up at that point.
Okay.
We were just ending the BPOS phase, so it was kind of like in the middle, and it was really ugly and clunky, and what the heck is all this stuff?
Yep.
But luckily, I entered at the point where it was just at the point where it started getting good. So I jumped into Office 365. I learned some very valuable lessons about how SharePoint Online and SharePoint On-Prem are not the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. And then my practice became around SharePoint and Office 365.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. Well, and it is an interesting jump around. Like I had a podcast with Andrew Connell earlier this week, but I talked to a lot of our folks in our community, and it's always fun to sort of see how people came up, and what they like, and and then really looking at what do you not like, or do you want to run a business, or do you want to work at a job, like a full-time job. And I think it changes over time.
It definitely can.
Like what and it's family, it's where you're living, it's all of that kind of stuff. And it's like choices about all of that and what you want your quality of life to be and your family's quality of life. So I think we all kind of have an interesting sort of, web that we weave.
Oh, yeah.
About that.
Oh, yeah. I learned after a while that I made a lot of mistakes and how I jumped into the business, how I handled it moving forward. Yeah. I didn't want to take loans, so I never did. But finding out that clients don't always pay on time.
Oh, my goodness.
I learned that the hard way.
Yep.
And by the time I learned that lesson fully, I had to take on a lot of loan factoring, loans, which come at a super high cost. Yeah. And my credit got so messed up. So one of the things that I always tell people that, one, I have a presentation that I do about how I became a Microsoft partner that I told you that I did with Rima.
Yeah.
But I've added on to it since a lot of information about my lessons learned, about what you should probably, the books that you should read that would help you decide whether you want to even do a venture,
right?
On partnerships, because being a sole owner is really, really hard. Having a partner is easier, but then there's also the flip side to the coin. You have to have a partner that you trust and hopefully will stay on the same page with you.
Yep.
But there are things like when your credit's good, get a credit card that has a really big balance, because a really big available balance, because when I started to try to grow, every time I started trying to grow and I would bring people on, somebody wouldn't pay on time.
Right.
So then I'd have to let them go, which was, just a mess.
Yeah.
So that's what made me change my mind on continuing on, because I didn't get the financing that I needed early enough. And being a woman-owned business, we already don't get financed as easily as men do. So I had that against me too.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you should do early on if you want to start a business. But I think I would have continued on if I was able to, if I had secured the funding early,
Right.
if I was able to grow in the way when I was ready to grow, then I probably would have stayed, but
Yeah.
didn't work out that way.
Yeah, no, I get it. I wrote a piece not too long ago that was all about and I called it the Wimpy syndrome. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. You know, that old Popeye cartoon, and yeah, it's you know, I run a small business, and yeah, when people don't pay you on time, go belly up, don't pay you ever. You know,
had that too.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough, and I agree with you about the funding stuff and the loans. You know, it's a very slippery slope, and you can get a lot of credit, and you can get a lot of, you know, and it's whether or not how you manage it, and I think that cash flow, right? You know.
Yep, cash flow.
Cash flow.
Hugely important.
Yeah, I want to. Do you have that presentation up somewhere that we can put in the show notes?
Oh yeah, I can definitely give you the link to that.
Wonderful.
I don't know it offhand, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll get it later. That's all right. I'm like, I know where you are.
Yeah, you know where to find me.
I do. Well, you brought up you know, women and getting funding. I know something else that, you know, you and I talked about before and been involved with is a lot of the diversity and inclusion programs, and you have a great Twitter account as well, and you're always sharing really great things. A couple days ago, sharing there's a gal, you know, talking about, you know, inclusion matters and Microsoft Advocate. I really, thanks for sharing all of that stuff. It's great to see, you know, what Microsoft is doing, and then just things that you're observing in the world, you know. Are you involved with some of the women in tech, women in SharePoint, women in those sorts of things as well? And have you been?
Yeah, I mean, I was heavily involved when I was a partner. And of course, that was through IAMCP, and that chapter has actually branched off to becoming the WIT network.
Yes.
As a Microsoft employee, Gabriella had come to one of our internal summits, and they're putting together with another company, Tech Mahindra and a few others, another WIT initiative for the Seattle area, at least to start off with. So she asked for volunteers to be on the committee. I raised my hand, and so did another colleague that works in Azure. So we've been working on that effort. So far, we're only in the super beginning stages, but we have a website. But cool. The website isn't published yet. Yeah. We got the logo, but yeah, we got our Twitter account. So be on the lookout for La Femme Tech or La Femme Tech WA, depending on if you're on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. And then we'll have our website up soon.
Very cool. That's awesome. I know Gabriella is such a champion in that area, and it's always great to see her speak. She was down here for the IMCP SoCal celebration of our 10-year anniversary, and came down.
Yeah, and that's where I was too, and that's where I saw you last.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, you were down. Oh, duh. Yeah. We were there. I'm like, okay, yes. Yeah, that was cool. You know, I think she's always so gracious, and my mother was so impressed. My mom and dad came. I think you met my parents, and they were running around, and oh my gosh, my mother was like, I have got to get a picture with her. And I was like, oh, okay. And of course she did. You know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But
cool. Yeah. I'm getting that picture.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm getting it from, but yeah, that's so funny. Let's flip to, a little bit more origin story for you. So you grew up in Baltimore and stuff. So will you tell us a little bit about like where you're from growing up even more? That a little bit?
So I grew up in inner city Baltimore. Like a lot of people in the inner city, I grew up poor. But my dad, and from a divorced family, but my dad made sure he stayed in the picture. And my mom and my dad and my grandmother on my dad's side especially were very interested in making sure we had all that they could give us. So if you remember Radio Shack,
yes,
I know I think there's probably a few of those left, but they pretty much got killed in Maryland. But that used to be the spot to go to, and we used to visit that a lot. And we found out about this computer And I had to been like around 9 or 10, I was somewhere in the 8 to 12 range.
Okay.
I can't remember my exact age, but there was the Tandy color computer 1, 2, 3, and 4. Of course, the 4 cost the most. So my dad scraped together money for months,
Wow.
and he got us the color computer 4 because he wanted us to have the best one that he could get.
Right.
But we had to share. But it came with a and I'm the oldest of 4, so you know, sharing sometimes it became a little less sharing, and that I'm taking the computer for right now because I'm the oldest. So
I love it. Yes, I'm the oldest too. I get it. Yep.
It came with a Visual Basic book, or not Visual Basic book.
Right. Okay.
So I taught myself Basic out of that book, and that was my first touch with computer science. And then my next touch was when I went to high school. I went to Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, which some places call it a magnet school, but what they call it in Baltimore is a citywide school.
Gotcha.
It's the top public citywide school in Baltimore. It might even be in Maryland, but I'm not exactly sure. Okay. It's a science engineering focused school.
Yep.
So in my junior year, we had a computer science class. It was supposed to be advanced basic. And I aced the class without trying. I was basically tutoring people. Some people that didn't get it, I was just doing their work a little bit, just like enough for them to get a C. Like just take this and get out of here. Take this and get out of here.
Yeah.
But that was my second brush, and I realized that I was really good at computer science. I also realized that I was good at science. So I took genetics as well.
Wow.
And I got the highest grades in science, so I got awarded for that at graduation. But my genetics teacher, she ran a lab, and she wanted me to work at her lab.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I love genetics, but looking at the pay, I got to get a PhD before I can actually, because I wanted to work on the Human Genome Project.
Right.
I was like, coming out the break, 20,000. I don't know about this 20,000 salary thing. I need to do. So I look at computer science, like, okay, 40,000 coming out of college. Okay, I need to do that. So that's what made me go to computer science as opposed to science.
Got it.
Especially the genetic side.
Yeah. Well, big yay to your parents. You know, what a cool, like, that's great that they together and it's nice. It's a really nice thing. Yeah. You know, it's because not everybody has that. And that's very cool that they did that for you. And
especially once they get divorced.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets really messy. So my siblings and I were really blessed for the support that we got. Yeah,
for sure. You also are you're an author, and you have some books out in the world. And you've been going through, is it Packet Publishing?
Yeah, Pact. They're pronounced Pact, PACKT, but pronounced Pact.
Okay, gotcha. And you've got a user guide. 462 pages, 532 pages. My goodness, you've written big books.
Yeah, one of them was a co-authoring with two of my friends, Thomas Carpe and Alora Rogers, that has a company called Liquid Mercury in Baltimore. So we co-authored the book together. That was the Mastering Office 365, I think that was the title. And then I was crazy enough to go and write a user guide for Office 365. Like, I didn't have other things in my life to do. It was insane of me to do that, but I made it through. And of course, the books are extremely old now because the cloud, moves at the speed of you breathing.
Yep.
So
that is very true. Do you have any guidance for? I mean, I know you were like, I can't believe I did this, but anybody who's thinking about taking out a book, any guidance words from you?
If you're thinking of taking on a book, just know that it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And if you actually decide to do it and you devote yourself, and you say that you're going to do it within Normally, the publisher will give you 6 months to 9 months, sometimes as far as a year. Don't put off your writing if you can help it. You do not want to be, you want to be that last 3 months like, oh my God, my book is due, and because they will get you a lot.
Yeah.
They will ride you until you get that thing done.
Yeah.
So I would highly consider also using co-authors if you can, because it's easier when you have somebody else writing the book with you, and somebody that can help with bouncing ideas off of, instead of you doing, which I did, like I said, like a crazy person, that last one by yourself.
Yeah.
And it's all on you.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't written a book as of yet per se, and definitely not, in the technical realm, but I've heard, it's one of those, you get behind, you're in trouble.
Oh boy, are you? They do not play when it comes to, you better get her done. You got a deadline. It's like, why?
Oh, I love it. So you're busy, busy person, like most people in the world. And how do you take care of that? What's your self-care secrets, or what do you do to kind of chill out and kind of thing? I know everybody's always kind of figuring out.
Oh my gosh, I definitely had to figure it out. After being a business owner for almost 7 years, I hadn't had a real vacation since my son was born, and he is 9 now, about to be 10 this summer.
Wow.
Even when I was on vacation, I still wasn't on vacation. So, you take a vacation, but the computer is still in your lap.
Yeah.
And your family's looking at you like, really? And then after a while, they don't look at you at all. They're like, whatever, I'm gone.
I've been there, and I don't do that anymore. Yes.
Yeah, you definitely have to take time daily. Meditation is really good. But I tend to exercise a lot, and that's a lot from my youth as well. That was something my parents were very big into. So I used to do martial arts, and I did that for years. So that kind of trained me, and doing sports in high school. That kind of got me into the training early of making sure I stayed as much in shape as I could at any given moment.
Yep.
Of course, those 40s right now are kicking my butt, but it could probably be worse. So making sure you take that time even if it's like taking a walk.
Yeah.
Sometimes just getting away from the computer for 30 minutes a day, sitting down with your family or with your significant other, or even by yourself and enjoying a TV show. Because sometimes you just got to veg out and not think about anything, not read anything.
Yeah.
I know it can be hard, but you can really blow yourself out if you're day in, day out, no kind of rest at all. I also had to get out of the habit of working, and I still sometimes do it, but it's not all the time now, and I don't feel I feel somewhat of a drive, but not the serious drive that I did before. To try to keep your days down to 12 hours.
Yeah.
I know that can sometimes be hard to do when you're very passionate about your work, or your work as a business owner. Your kids being fed relies heavily on you getting the work done.
Yeah.
But if you're blown out, your effectiveness goes down.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And this is, me being a person that was a developer, because I used to write applications before I started in SharePoint. Being up for 24 hours trying to get something done, and my husband, significant other at the time, like, are you coming to bed? You need to go to sleep. Forcing me to go to sleep and then wake up with the answer, because all I needed was some sleep.
Yeah.
I know it's hard, because it's hard for me at times, but you really got to take time and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Only one you.
Exactly. Yeah. And, time ticks way faster than we ever like it to anyway. That's for sure. I know your kids, are they into tech and science and stuff as well?
Yeah. One of them likes robotics.
Okay.
The other one, he's still kind of young, but he loves like anything tech. All of my kids actually love anything techie.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of my fault. They were on my phone or a computer since they were able to hold one.
Right.
And they all have at least 2 devices. And I'm talking a computer and a phone for my girls because they're the older 2.
Yep.
For my son, he has a phone too, but it's not connected. But he has his computer, and they have a Surface as well.
Wow.
And then we have Xboxes up the wazoo. So it's about like trying to focus them, but they love tech.
Yeah.
Like any kid, but you got to tell kids that, and I try to tell them all the time, it's not always about consuming the tech. It's also about creating some yourself.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
If you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's fun. You know what? I mean, it is one of those things. It's like I look around and I'm like, I got 3 screens going and a Surface. And, you know, I got to tell you something funny. I had my cousins over, and they're 9th grade and 6th grade, and we I was like, phones down, you know. This is my house, my rules, you know. And they were like, what? And I literally, I have an old rotary phone.
Oh, man.
I pulled it out and I was like, do either of you know what this is? And my cousin's a couple years older than me. He starts laughing. And I was like, well, this is a phone. And they're like, okay. And I was like, so what do you think you would do? And watching them trying to figure out how to deal with this rotary phone was, I nearly wet my pants. It was so cute. And then when I finally, you know, showed them how to put their fingers, you know, in and dial, they were like, this takes forever.
Oh my gosh, yes. And don't mess up. Mess up.
No, and every time they messed up, I was like, you got to hang up. And they're like, how do I do that? I was like, push that. You got to start over. Like, we got to start over? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. I love the times we're in now because that used to drive me crazy.
I know, right? It's just like
crazy.
A number with a lot of 9s in it. You're like, really? Come on.
Yeah, or zeros.
Yep. No, you don't know how good you have it, y'all. Come on.
Yeah, pretty much. In the real video games, remember Pong back in the day? Oh my God.
Yeah, and Atari, all that jazz. Yeah, for sure. I do. I had one of those. What was that? Pitfall and Enduro, and Kaboom, and all that stuff. I loved all that for sure.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So you're really social as well. And any tips or favorite things social media wise for folks that you can give them some tips on, or places you like to play?
Well, the places I mostly play in are LinkedIn and Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's especially the best places to play when you're in the tech field.
Yeah.
Twitter is very fast and moving, but there's a lot of techies there, a lot of people that are consuming because they're trying to learn about the cloud, they're trying to learn about this and that tech, they're trying to learn about how things work.
Yep.
It's always important as well to have a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And not just a LinkedIn profile, but a good one that tells people what you actually do and translate it into their language, and also try to like refresh it every 6 months.
Yep.
Look and say, well, whoa, I don't do that anymore. Or, whoa, that is worded really weird. Maybe I should, now that I know better, maybe I should reword that.
Yeah.
But personal brand, especially in in every space, but especially in our space, if you want to become somebody that is known, that is trusted, whether you own a business or you're somebody that's an individual contributor, somebody that goes and works for somebody else.
Yep.
Either way, if you're known, you're always giving back, you're always contributing your knowledge, you're learning from others. You're not just being the I know everything and nobody can teach me anything type person. All that will shine through. Try to keep up with your blogging as well, which is another thing I need to get back to. But your personal brand is very important. So I've always stayed on my personal brand.
Yep.
Like I said, the blogging part has fallen down a little bit. Facebook can also be good for those people that own businesses, because there are a lot of people on Facebook looking for services and products.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was looking at yours, and what I love about your LinkedIn profile, your headline, and a lot of people will be like, project manager, comma, for blah 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 company, and that's it. And I love yours. You say, I help empower our architects so they can empower our partners. Strategist, author, speaker, tech policy advocate. That tells me a heck of a lot about what you're passionate about and who you are.
Yeah. And it took me a while to come up with that.
Yeah.
That was not off the first try. Right. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, it takes some massage to get there, and I think it's important. And and the about us is same. It's like, who are you? What are you passionate about? And of course, what have your roles been and all that stuff. But yeah, I think, you're on the money there for sure. I was checking, I'm always curious. I go and look everybody up, do my homework, and I was like, yep, look at her. Yep, she got it, Not a surprise.
Yeah. And I learned that from our friend Jeff Shuey.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Jeff.
Yeah, big old shout out to Jeff Shuey, the storyteller.
Yeah.
Tech storyteller.
Absolutely, for sure. That's cool. I love seeing you. I love talking to you. I love seeing you speak. I mean, everyone, if you see on any, roster, make sure and check out her sessions, because she's terrific. And we'll put all of her stuff in the show notes. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for sharing your history with us. It's cool always to see how people come up and get to where they are and become the Maven experts that they are in their fields. It's super great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a journey, and the journey can be fun. And scary as heck. But still.
You got to take those leaps, right?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. So I thank you for the stuff about the, starting a business too. I think that'll be super helpful for our listeners. We'll make sure and grab that too. And the last question I ask everyone is, I'm interested in sort of the moments in our lives and sparks that have driven us to today. And so would you share maybe a person, place, or thing, or a spark? I know you shared some of this with us already, but is there anything or any couple of things that stand out of like this person or moment really seats me in kind of who I am today and how I got here?
Well, besides my parents, my husband, he has been the most awesome, because he lost his job during the recession, and he helped raise our kids. And when I couldn't homeschool them anymore when they got older, he took that over. And then it got to the point we had 3 and he couldn't do it anymore. But I would not have been able to have a business and not be able to run it as long as I did if it wasn't for him. I would not have made the career moves if it wasn't for him. And his always, well, why can't you do that? You could do that. I don't see why you can't do that. What the heck's wrong? When sometimes when you're just in that dark place and you're just like, I can't do anymore. I don't know what else to do, or I feel like because somebody's bashing you or something like that.
Sure.
And he's like, the heck with that person. Go do it. What you waiting for? Yeah. Without his support, I don't know that I would be where I am. And have the loving children that we have today. That's another thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shout out to him. How about that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, there's something about creating deep, lasting relationships with people, friends, colleagues, partners.
Oh, friends and colleagues. Yeah. I have mentors in IAMCP too that help me along, to help me stay in business as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think as of late for me in my personal life, I think that the words of affirmation, you're going to, pick on the love languages stuff, for me, I didn't realize sometimes how that is so important, especially when you work really hard and you're, you're out, you're out in the public eye, I'm out in the public eye, and we're doing stuff, and you have moments of like, oh well, I'm not sure if this is going to be awesome, but I think so.
Yeah.
And, but you can be it doesn't matter who you are. You could be, I was looking at your Facebook profile. You could be Michelle Obama, you could be Madonna, you can be whoever, and you're putting stuff out in the world, and you're still like, I hope they like it,
Yeah. And pretty much everybody has those doubts. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
It's just about overcoming them.
Yeah, absolutely. And having people in your life that are like, why can't you do that? Or whatever, like your husband. Like, that's so awesome.
I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's great. So I'm giving him my own personal shout out. Thank you for that. We all need that. And we all need that. And I think as women, we need that too when we're building businesses and doing things that are sort of, that are outside our comfort zones and stuff. And in fields that are, not necessarily, full of women, so it's really cool. That's awesome. I'm glad for you, doll. It's great.
Yeah, all you males out there, we do need our male allies. I mean, we do it up. Trust me.
Yep.
But we still appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And need you.
Yeah. I have a lot of male mentors in my life and good people. My father is amazing. And yeah, so it's good stuff. So cool. It's so great. I could probably talk to you for another 3 hours.
Right. You're in here forever.
Yeah, I know. They're gonna be like, okay, they just kept going. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, well, I appreciate you, and I love it. We're friends and colleagues, and get to do things together sometime, and hopefully we'll get to do more soon. What's next for you? Anything major coming up that you told us about the D&I stuff. Anything else? Rocking out.
Yeah, no, nothing major. Hopefully I'm just gonna continue on with learning my role.
Yeah.
Because being, like I was saying to you earlier, I've been so used to being the techie, and now touching tech, but not necessarily being in the tech and having to lead techies.
Right.
Is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
It's fun. And interesting, but it's also scary.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
Yay. Well, I can't wait till our next encounter. So that's awesome. Yay. Cool. All right. Well, you keep on keeping on and keep teaching people well. That's what you do. I know. So awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. Yay.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Everyone, that has been another episode of the Maven Do It Better podcast. And here is to another beautiful day on this big blue spinning sphere. Thanks, everybody. Bye. The original music on this podcast was created by Jesse Case.